Namaste. This is why you keep blocking manifestation. In this three-part series, I'm going to talk about how I went from trauma to rock bottom to triumph at various parts of my life and how blocking them out was the worst thing I could have done to manifest my next best self. I'm Dhruva MD, a practicing board-certified family doctor, and I'm not coming to you as a medical doctor. However, I will bring you medical evidence, and you will learn how medical evidence can help you manifest by reprocessing what's happened to you. When I was younger, I had a lot of trauma, like a lot of people have. I don't want to sit here and blame my dad, my mom, my family, my generation. That's one of the biggest factors that could be holding you back from manifesting your dream life, the next best version of yourself, you being able to love yourself, and then in turn accept the abundance that's bestowed upon you by the universe, God, higher power, whatever it is that you believe in, neurospiritually. Here's the thing about this trauma, rock bottom, and triumph that I'm going to talk to you about. Have you ever heard of people saying, it's my trauma, it's because of my dad, it's because of my mom, it's because of my ex, they were a narcissist, they displaced it on me? That is going to hold you back a millionfold from manifesting anything. Matter of fact, a lot of the times people will manifest that in their future relationships. If you keep on saying it was because of them, well, it's going to be because of somebody else. If you keep on saying it's their fault, you're going to blame somebody else. If somebody said something mean to you, you're going to say something mean to somebody else. It's inevitable. But if you figure out a way to reprocess it, forgive yourself, then what you can do is you can take these things, reprocess them through, for example, a mind hygiene technique, which is supported by medical evidence, eye movement desensitization reprocessing technique, which is supported by medical evidence, to be your next best self. I've had many events of trauma in my life. In this video, we're just going to talk about the trauma and the medical evidence to support how reprocessing it can help you manifest your next best self and your dreams. When I was 0 to 7, my mom, my dad, and my brother and me, Amma, Appa, Ajay, and me, all hated each other. That's the thing that we had in common. I was always in child protective services, adult protective services, and domestic violence shelters. So growing up from 0 to 7, that was my upbringing. Matter of fact, interestingly, I was born in the United States, but my parents had neglected me so much because they were arguing, fighting, just trying to handle their business, filing for bankruptcy. My brother is gay. They're trying to figure all of these things out. I didn't even learn English until I was 5 years old. My dad wouldn't let me go out anywhere. I got almost held back in kindergarten. But what happened was God blessed me, the universe blessed me. And then the next piece of trauma that I had was when I was 15 to 17, I went to juvenile detention 3 times. I was in jail 3 times as a teenager. This was for joyriding and stealing jeans. Luckily, nothing happened after the age of 17. Then what happens is right after that, I get shipped off to India. And then in India, to be cool, you got to study. So then I got 7 scholarships into medical school. But during that time, my dad was constantly telling me I was dumb, I was stupid, I wouldn't amount to anything. My dad wanted me to fail medical school. That's another piece of trauma. And then from 30 to 35, that's when all of these things that happened to me when I was younger, my dad yelling at me, my dad beating me, my dad hitting my mom, my dad making me hit my mom, making my brother hit my mom, all of that came back in full circle. After I did everything that everybody said, I had manifested this life of me buying a home, me getting married, me possibly having kids. I don't have kids right now. Taking my mom out of a psychiatric facility. She was institutionalized for 27 years with schizophrenia. So I didn't know her growing up. I developed narcissistic traits during this time because that's how I grew up. Now, we're not blaming anybody. We're just understanding it. And you can see here how you just have so much more room to manifest when you understand and reprocess things. What I'm trying to tell you is that because of all of this, I developed these narcissistic traits of blaming others, playing victim, complaining, talking crap about others, being condescending, and saying, why me? I don't deserve this. Those are narcissistic traits. And when you say that person's dumb, that person's stupid, it's all their fault, those are narcissistic traits. And I didn't like that. And then what happened was that all of this came back full force. From 35 to 39, I started drinking more, alcohol, drugs. I was in $300,000 gambling debt. and I almost died from cocaine misuse. And I did cocaine for about 5 to 6 months. I've been sober since then, and I'll talk to you guys more about that in the rock bottom and triumph videos. What this video mainly is trying to say is that if you don't write these things down about yourself, remember here, in the practice of mind hygiene, we just accept it. We don't try to fix it. I'm not trying to say this is bad. I'm not trying to say this is good. I'm just identifying it. You know, a lot of the times in the manifestation space, self-help, mindset space, you got to read this book. Now, I don't disagree with that, but you got to write down exactly what happened to you. And on these flip charts, you can see how I'm constantly writing. Don't get frustrated there. And here is something about a speaker reel I was doing. Here's another trauma, another trauma, triumph, rock bottom. Let's have a crud ton of fun. Here is another one where, do you see what I'm doing here? This is just one part of my writing. You don't need mind hygiene. You can use any technique. You can use any writing technique. But if you don't write and you think, the law of attraction, the law of abundance, the law of vibration will not work for you like it should. I'm gonna read some medical evidence on how eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy, or EMDR, helped me reprocess some of these so I can develop that abundant state where I'm not manifesting from lack, and that vibration and the frequency that I'm emitting is not from lack, resentment, or self-hatred. Unprocessed trauma keeps the brain in a state of hypervigilance, leading to amygdala hyper overactivity and poor emotional regulation. This is from Van der Kolk, BA, The Body Keeps the Score. What this means is that unprocessed trauma will block what you want to do. Oh man, that happened to me. Why me? Did that happen? No, this happened because the universe, God put them in a position to help others. Isn't he so handsome? Can you believe that happened to me? Why me? And when you don't try to manifest from that residual trauma and your nervous system isn't firing off cortisol all the time, you're able to consecrate the cortisol, meaning you're able to just surrender to that higher purpose. And when you can do that and use these evidence-based techniques, which is EMDR, and mind hygiene, which is writing, you'll be able to get to that next best self. In another video, we're gonna talk about how this trauma led to rock bottom, where I was in juvenile detention, where I had failed step 3 twice, where I was addicted to alcohol and cocaine, and how this affected me and what I did to reprocess.